Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of March 10th through the 14th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap for March 3rd through the 7th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is NEO. We ended the week at $4.47, up 5.42%. To the north side from where we are takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area, 455. Above that, 462, and roughly 469 at 4 standard deviations. I don't think we'll hit that on Monday, but towards the end of the week, we certainly could. And as a matter of fact, we could get all the way to here, which would be back to an area we've been at 494. But that would be towards the end of the week if we continue to go up. Now, to the south side, back at the middle of the trend and the baseline, oops, let me change that to purple. That is now 443. That will also be support. If we hit that, I'll anticipate a bounce off of that or potentially going sideways. -2 standard deviations takes us to 428, 421, and roughly 414. Now, last week we were up here for the middle of the trend, and we bled out all the way back down to here. And as you can see, we've been whipped all over the place. As far as the gaps go, this gap to the upside formed, and that will be in play for this week. That will take us to roughly 462. We have this gap still in play, taking us to 479. And this gap closed out of the gate on Monday, taking us down to 429. So we gapped up, which means we filled to the downside. So that is done. Delete 429. No longer a threat to our account. We went up on this gap, which means we fill it to the downside, and we hit right there on Thursday, March the 6th, taking us down to 423. And then we have this gap still in play, taking us down to 395. And fortunately, that is not in the channel, not in the zone to close out. We are in an upward channel on the 5. Now, as far as all these lines that I've marked out, the middle of the trend lines, which have now turned into either support or resistance, these two lines are so close to the current line that I'm going to delete it. So this line opened up on February the 3rd, and then this one, February the 18th. So I will delete that and that line. I don't need any of these lines. I just mark it out so that you can see at a quick glance where we've been and where we're headed. All the yellow lines were from 2024 and the purple lines are from 2025. All right. That is it for NEO. The 1-year price target is 587, which represents a 31% return from where we are. The next ticker is Estee Lauder, but I want, grab the wrong, I have to hit escape. It's not working out, it's getting wonky. And that gap closed, and we have another gap to the upside. So we have these gaps, these two gaps, and then another gap up here as well. And that will take us to 517, back to a territory we've been in the past in 2024. See how quickly I can look at the chart and just figure out the year just because I've marked it out in a consistent way. All right, Estee Lauder. We ended the day at 73.31, up 2.47%. We are very close to the middle of the trend there, the baseline. 73.61, that will be resistance. We could fall off of that, and then this could be a range in here too, or this range, this bigger range. And then also these other lines will be ranges for us in channels. But I just play on the conservative side, -2 and 2 standard deviations. All right, and 2 would take us to 75.08, 75.84. Don't hold your breath for this level on Monday. 76.51, perhaps towards the end of the week. We could even get to, so I'm marking this area from Monday to Friday. The middle of the trend could take us all the way to 80.58. Now to the south side, 72.12. Back to an area we've been, 71.33 and roughly 70.61. Now looking left, you can see support, the clear buy-in areas, resistance, sell areas. And what happened here, I extended the gap from the previous week, but we closed it right out of the gate on Monday, the 3rd. So that is no longer in play. So congrats if you went long there. And what is happening here? This gap closed out on Tuesday, March the 4th. So congrats if you went short there. So all we did is we anticipated this move, but look how far we went up to go back down. So delete 69.27. And I want to show you what is the return here. So roughly here to here is a return of 9.9993%. Delete that. And then we gapped up, which means we will eventually gap down to fill it, and that will take us to roughly 68.14. And then we have a gap here, taking us down to 65.15. Let's just delete that one. And we are in an upward channel. And the middle of the trend, if we continue to go up, could take us to 80, as I mentioned, 58 for this one. And we have a gap here, still in play. And a gap here, that will take us to roughly 83.83. And this one will take us to 82.61-ish. This one, oh yeah, that's cleaned up. I removed the price tag. Oh, this one is still, no, that's done. Okay, I think that is everything for Estee Lauder. The 1-year price target is 75.02, so we're very close to where we are. And that will be resistance as well. 75.07, yeah, right here. We're going to sell off. I think definitely we could hit it on Monday. And that will be resistance and then sell off and then eventually make our way up to this gap. The next one is Unilever. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Just because this line is so close to this one, I'll just delete this. I marked that line out on the week of Monday, December 23rd. So we've come back to an area we've been in December, and it is March. Let's get rid of that. Don't need it to clog my, charts up here. Now let's do Unilever. So I am tracking from this point again to this point. So we're at 59.23. Resistance 59.79. Resistance 60.13 and 60.46 to the south side. Right? That's 59.09, 58.40, 58.05, and 57.69. As far as gaps go, this is still in play to the downside. This will be support here, as well as this line. We could bounce off of that. But on the way up, it is, well, from here up, this is resistance. On the way down, this line, an area we've been, will be support, as well as this line. But on the way up, it's resistance. This gap is still in play. This gap will take us to roughly 57.74. And what about this green gap? This closed out on Friday, and that took us all the way to, oops, gosh darn it, it is not liking this. I need to make it a little bigger. Nope, there we go. So that's $59, and the high for Friday was 59.64 up here, resistance. And look at that. You know intuitively what's going to happen, and it did. Could it go higher? Sure, because there's another gap up above it too, but it's a sell-off to go up again. Let's delete the 59. Nope, wrong one. Got to be right on that price label. And that gap, by the way, opened up on earnings day, February the 13th. So that's done. Finally, geez Louise. And then all of these gaps closed to the downside off of earnings. The earnings play. That's done. All right, I think everything else looks good. All right. So again, we're here, and for the middle of the week, conservatively, we could be at 60.16, and then the outer bands here, 60.85, 61.19. Don't hold your breath for that level up there, which is 61.54, but there's a gap that will also be closed if we should be so lucky to get there, and I hope so. The 1-year price target is 63.40. This is inching up. So I think once I hit that, if we do, I will sell out my shares. For real this time. All right, that is it for Unilever. Again, ignore all those yellow and purple lines too. Those are just something I just mark out for myself and then eventually delete them. Rivn 11.17, up 1.27%. Resistance 11.36, 11.51, 11.66, the middle of the trend and the baseline, back to an area we've been. 11.04, let's see, 10.74, 10.59, 10.44. Looking left, support and a buy-in, support and a buy-in. This gap opened up, we gap down. This will fill to the upside. Don't know when it's going to hit. We'll just extend it, and that will take us to roughly 11.40. Change my color. This gap already closed. This is resistance up here. Sell, sell, sell is what those lines are meant for, to help you get out. If you're trading otherwise, just ignore it. That one opened up on Monday, closed to the downside at 11.90, an area we've been. So that's it for Rivn. We are still in a slight downward channel. So the middle of the trend by the end of the week could take us to 1075, 1044, an area we've been, 1029, and roughly 1014. The 1-year price target is $14.83, which represents a 32% return from where we are. But right now, we are going down. The next one is Nike. We ended the week at 78.59. 78.87, 79.36, 79.82 to the south side. That's 77.93, 76.99, back to an area we've been, roughly 74.48 and 76.03. What's happening here? Support and a bounce. Close enough and a bounce, close enough. We gapped down, so this fills on the way up, and it touched right there, taking us to 78.22. Now this one is a gap to the downside, and we touched right there, with the wick still going even lower. That took us down to 76.49, and that closed on Wednesday. So that is no longer a threat to our account to the south side. So congrats if you went short and you made money there. And we have this gap still haunting us to the downside, taking us to 73.16. Nasty there, but an opportunity for others. There's always a flip side to price. Somebody's bleeding out, well, somebody else is buying because it's a better opportunity for them to get in. All right, we have this gap all the way to $94, still in play, and then this gap within the gap, 89.16. The 1-year price target is 85.01, which represents an 8% return from where we are. And we are in an upward channel, so that's good. Obviously, we could still hit the lower channels and then bounce. Now, the middle of the trend is here, so I have a feeling. What's the RSI? Looks like it's going down. See, you can see that. But look at this. 78.65 for a solid end of the week if we continue to climb up and then keep the momentum. All right, to the south side, as I mentioned, 77.93. I got distracted here, 76.99, 76.48-ish, and roughly 76.01. Oh, I extended that. Yeah, I already gave you that. Okay. Oh, let me clean up this. This does not look pretty. That touched right. Oh, I guess I did clean that up. That took us down to 79.47. All right, and the other gap to the north side I just talked about, so that's it. Sofi, falling apart. Falling apart here. There's some news, and it says, oh, it was here yesterday. Well, Trump is making his biggest move yet to shrink the federal government, setting the stage for a political and economic firestorm. He's set to shut down the U.S. Department of Education. But even if you shut down the Department of Education, it doesn't matter. Kids still have to take out loans to get money to go to college. Sofi is still going to be in a good position. And young people love Sofi. They've marketed to young people. I know we're bleeding out. I own this ticker and I'm going down with this ship here, but I still have faith in Sofi. You have to get the money somewhere. The government isn't going to do it for you anymore. Well, soon. Or it could, and you never know. You just don't know until Trump signs the deal. All right, let's talk about price. To the north side, 1304, 1338, and 1370. Again, ignore all the other horizontal lines. I should delete them one day. I've slowly started to do it, but not yet. 1236, 1170, 1134, 1101. Now, by the end of the week, we are still going down, so the middle of the trend could take us to 1122. And chop this around. All right, I see this gap. Got the hiccups here. Taking us down to 1143. That opened up on Wednesday, November 6th. Oh, and we've got this little gap. While I'm here, I might as well just extend it. I gotta make it bigger because I have to have a spot to grab this or it will get wonky. Oh, I bought some for my mom here at 10.70 and I should have sold out at 14, 17, 18.42 I could have, but my gosh. That's the problem. When you see that, you're like, oh, I should just do this trade short swing trades and then get back in. You just don't know. There's so many different strategies. I have to extend that one more time. All right, that will take us to roughly 1092-ish in the 90s. And this one will take us to roughly 11, did I mark down 1143? Yeah. All right, so that's still in play, and look at the strong downward channel. Oh, and this one closed. That's good. That took us down to 12.99, and that one opened up when? Oh, 12.98. That one opened up back on Monday, October 11th. We've bled out. So congrats if you went short there, thinking there would be a retracement, and we did. All right. I think I've cleaned up pretty much everything else. If not, I'll do that later. All right, that's Sofi. The 1-year price target is 1464, a 14.64% return. Tsly. This one has bled out, my goodness. But I still believe in Tesla and Tsly. All right. 903, 918, 932. 873, 843, 828, 813, support and a bounce. This is resistance. This gap opened up. That will take us to roughly, I'll change the color later, 930. This one took us to, right there it touched, roughly 941. So congrats. And then this one opened up out of the gate and closed out of the gate. So that's done. To the downside, 970. And look at this all the way to support. Yikes. Then we have a gap that will take us to 1085 up here. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, but I think there are no gaps open sores, open wounds. So that's good for Tsly. There are no price targets because this is an ETF. You just have to figure it out yourself. All right, this one looks like a hot mess. It's been all over the place. I'm going to have to start deleting some things. All right, first, your price target. Hit escape there. We ended the day at 2064, down 0.53%. 2106, 2139, 2172. The middle of the trend is back to an area we've been. 2041. -2 is 1975, 1944, and 1911. Okay. Support here and a bounce, sell-off resistance. We have this gap that closed. Again, I just extended it from the previous week, and it touched right there on Monday out of the gate, taking us down to 2257. Okay. 2280, delete, and 2256, delete. Oops. Oh, and this gap closed. I did not mark this out previously. Taking that took us down to 2302. Okay. And I think that's it. We are still in a downward channel. And look at this. That could touch, if we continue to go down, maybe by Wednesday. That opened up on February the 10th. And if we get down there, I will definitely buy down there. All right, so what I need to do is delete one of these lines. This yellow line is too close to the current middle of the trend. Again, all we did was retrace, so I'm going to delete it. And that one I tracked on December 9th of 2024. Get rid of that. See, and there we are. And where was, did I mark? Oh, I must have deleted it when I made a video maybe. I'm looking for, oh yeah, sorry. Last week we were up here at 2373. And this week we are right here, nasty fall. That was just 1 week. I think there will be a rebound though. All right, so roughly there to the middle of the trend is down 14%. Yeah, we're down 14% from last week, which makes you think, get in, get up, get out. All right, let's mark this one while I'm here at 1914. The 1 year price target is 25.08. Oh yeah, and the reason we bled out is because Trump made an announcement that he is pulling the money from the fund here. Oh yeah, plans to cut the $53 billion CHIPS Act. That's it, CHIPS Act. The funny thing is, he planned to cut it, but really nobody got any money. The money hadn't been dispersed, but of course people get excited. There's euphoria and the ticker runs, but there was nothing there. So there's nothing to cut because he never gave the money. Nobody started building anything off the money yet that I know of. So Intel is going to have to do this on their own. And they will. NVIDIA isn't going to sweep everything. Option R. Now, Bank of America. We ended the day at 154.18, down 2.68%. Here we go. 159.55, 162.20, 165.05. $153.98, 148.48, 145.84, 143.07. Okay, that took us down to 149.38. Congrats if you went short and you made money there. And that opened up on, wow, November 25th of 2024. So I'm going to delete that. This is no longer a threat to our account to the south side. Obviously, there are other threats, just not this one. Delete. And that was a good place to pick up shares. But look at this. We went down as far as 149.05. I already called this one, but we went even lower, right about 149, right there, where the wick is. Very nice. And then a bounce off of that because that is support. But we're still stair-stepping down. And this went down. Concerns about potential tariffs may disrupt Boeing's supply chain, with estimates indicating a 25% rise in operating costs for aerospace companies if key components are not available. See, it's the potential tariffs. It's not even real tariffs. It's just the news that spooks people. But this is an opportunity to get in at a better price. But look at this. The 137 was even a better price. Will we get there? Who knows? But I'm a buyer more down here along this line and that line, not up there. I'll sell off of that line, but not necessarily buy. It just depends. This is a gap to the upside that is in play. That will take us to 163.12. I'll change the color right now. All right, the 1-year price target in the big picture, 197. Okay, 197.35, a 28% return. And yay, that is it. But one other note. Since I'm marking from here to here, the middle of the trend could take us to 141.78, the outer bands here, 136.27, 133.52, and 130.72. And then, well, I gave you the upper bands. All right. Oh, oops. Command Z. And one last thing, this one is still in play, taking us to 170.10. Should we reverse? All right, that does it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of March 10th through the 14th. Can't believe it's the 66th week I've been doing these gaps, these gap and go trades here. And if there's a ticker you want me to go over, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great trading week.